Welcome back to the Nick Hall Comedy Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Hall, joined as always by...
Josh Griffey.
Big week, it actually is. Quite a news cycle again. Thankfully for us. Hey, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you give us a rating and review. We appreciate that. Spotify, anywhere you're listening. That helps us out a bunch. If you want to get some sweet-ass merch like those Trastros shirts.
Houston Trastros shirts?
Blasted everywhere yesterday. That's CoachKentMurphy.com/shop. And, of course, if you want to follow us on social media, everything is at Coach Kent Murphy. None of that fake shit?
No more fakes.
Yep. It's starting to get weeded out a little bit. So, I've been pretty pleased with the...
I think now that we're on everything, especially apps like Snap and TikTok where they can see our face all the time. Not our face, your face. We're not like a hybrid
it's our face.
character. But, yeah, like, you just can't cheat the real Coach Kent Murphys or whatever the fuck your names are.
The champ is here! That's all I got. Oh, okay. Well, where do we start?
Yeah, where do you want it so much? We've got Trastros, Antonio Brown.
I'll say one thing. LSU whipped up on Clemson last night.
Yeah.
Good game, whatever. I placed a sizable bet.
Really?
On over 67.5 points for the game.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, not hell yeah. They were at 67 points. With 12 minutes left in the fourth, and nobody scored again.
See, in my brain, I was like 40, 20, and then some change. Like you had to be there.
I missed it by the hook. By half a fucking point. Because for 12 minutes, the two best offenses in the country couldn't put a goddamn point on the board. I was salty. I was salty. But
that's horrible.
I had a good day. I had a good day on Sunday, so it's fine. Like half
a point.
Yeah, but
I won money on a drunken bet. My anti-Ravensness kicked up, and I happened to be in a bar hammered.
Yeah.
I won some money on that. That was good. I actually thought the Titans had no shot in hell. I was like, this is an impossible.
They look like the best team in football right now.
I mean, they fucking whooped the shit out of the Ravens.
They manhandled two teams in a row.
I know.
That were good, yeah.
I was ecstatic, though. There's nothing I love more than seeing Baltimore just get dropped down the road.
There was a dude on the radio yesterday that called the Ravens Balta-less, not Baltimore, and I was like, nailed it, dude.
Okay, boomer.
Literally,
okay, boomer. I'm okay.
Then they came out and beat Balta-less, and I was like, ooh, shots fired.
Dads everywhere having to undo their braid belts because they're chuckling so hard.
Yeah. Speaking of less.
Oh, God. Here we go.
How about that punishment?
All right, so for those of you, this is a catch-up because we promised you when the MLB dropped their punishment unlike we've ever seen in the history of sports, we would talk about it. It happened to coincide perfectly with our show.
It sure did.
I mean, what do you make of it? So essentially, look, the punishment that came down was a 1-year suspension for GM and coach. The Astros then came out and on their own volition fired those two.
Yeah. So
that's it.
Here's how it went. So they lost first and second round draft picks for the next 2 years.
Okay.
That's not really a big deal in the MLB. It's not.
No.
Like there's 100 rounds. I think only two Hall of Famers have ever been drafted number one. I think it was Chipper Jones and Ken Griffey Jr. Not that they would have had the first pick, but taking away a first or second round draft pick in the MLB is like taking away like a 6th round pick in the NFL.
Right.
It doesn't hurt that bad because I mean there's so many rounds and the development process through the minor leagues is so long that like you don't always know what a guy's going to be until 3 years after you draft him. And then it's the 7th round guys like shit. He developed a lot, whatever.
Right, and most of those guys just get added on in trades. They're shuffled around so much.
Yeah, so that doesn't really sting that much. So they lost that. Their coach and their GM got suspended for a year, and they got fined $5 million, which is the max. Not a single player on this faced any punishment.
None.
0. And the reason for that is because the MLB struck a deal with the players that in exchange for their testimony, they won't face any punishment.
Which is great. We need more evidence, even though we have actually smoking trash cans everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they need... Yeah, because I was telling you, this is the thing that baffles me, right? The way they laid this out is the equivalent of there are 4 guys who decide they're going to rob a bank.
Right.
One guy is like the guy who gets the schematics and sets the schedule.
Yeah.
But he stays behind at the lair.
Yeah.
Right? The other guys go out and kill a bunch of your aunts who work at the teller line.
Yeah.
Get the blood-soaked money and come back, and they're like, what we really need is that schematic guy.
Yeah.
He's the one who started all
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Like, if you were the one swinging the bat or throwing the ball, you are cheating more than anyone else because you are the last one who has a chance to make the decision to not do it.
That's like what you do in Little League, though. You look at these 10 and 12-year-old players that maybe don't know better.
Right.
And you go, look, if you just tell me what happened, you won't be in trouble. We just want to take care of the adults that made you do it.
Right.
Well, these guys aren't 10 and 12. These are compliant adults willingly participating in a fucking rampant cheating scheme.
It's baffling.
They have to face punishment.
They absolutely have to.
You cannot give them immunity on that. Like it's absurd to think that they can do this, win MVP awards, which boosts their fucking profit, win World Series, go to another World Series, which boosts their fucking pockets, and go, it's okay. But I'll tell you what, your coach can't coach for a year.
Yeah.
Got him!
It's fucking, because these are the hatchet men.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are the most altering the integrity of what's happening on the field is the fucking players.
Right.
If one player came out and was like, hey, if you guys don't knock this trash can shit off, I'm going to rat you out to the league.
Right.
Also, you can't shit can me from the team because I'll rat you out to the league. The players could have shut this down.
It's retaliation. You can't do it.
And everyone's going to say, oh, the players were victims here. But no, that's fucking horseshit.
Not at all.
These are grown men who make way more money than their coaches, by the way. Because this is what I was looking up. I think the last 2 World Series, right? The team split between $20 and $30 million just from being in it.
Right.
And that doesn't include all the stadium revenue.
Right.
All the merchandise. All the increased ticket sales for the start of the next season.
Yep.
Right? And for the Astros, this was 3 years. This was 2 World Series over a 3-year span.
Yep.
So you're talking about a fuckload of money.
Yeah, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hey, can we have that $5 million? You go, yeah, and I fucking throw it at you like you're the fucking B team stripper on a Thursday. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Right?
All this punishment said is worth it to cheat.
Absolutely worth it.
Because it costs them. They have to cost them $5 million, and they got to get a new coach.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, Joe Madden's driving around in an RV somewhere. They can upgrade. You know what I mean?
No, he's Angels coach.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot he signed, but yeah.
But he's probably still driving around in an RV somewhere.
You could probably still pop a tire, Hills Have Eyes style, and lure him into Houston. No, this is my... If I was an owner of a team,
right,
the first question I would ask on every interview now for a GM or coach is, tell me your cheating tactics.
Right.
How are we going to get away with this for just long enough to cash the fuck in?
To cash in, yeah.
Right?
Be like, we've got to come up with a really good way to cheat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and win a World Series.
Yeah, well, you're getting...
Because it's at the end of the day, it's a business.
Yeah.
And their bottom line is fucking booming.
Yeah.
Because of this, and it cost them next to nothing.
No, and also you can do the nonsensical, we'll vacate their championship.
Yeah.
Big deal. I already got my fan base torqued.
Yeah.
They lived through that winning of the World Series. That's worth it to them as fans.
Yeah.
That's worth it to me as an owner.
Worth it.
Like, even me is
worth it.
If any of my teams, right, Steelers, IU, any of them came out and they're like, they won, and then I found out 3 years later they cheated, I wouldn't care at all.
Well, with that ruling, if you're not cheating to win,
yeah,
you should be fired.
Yeah.
like your job is to increase profits.
Yeah.
That's the most effective way. It's proven.
Increase profits, make the fans happier, and how do you do that? You win more games.
And to your point, it's like, Louisville got their 2013 championship stripped.
Yeah.
Do you think those fans are like, well, we didn't win the championship in 2013? No, they're like, we were the champions in 2013.
If I'm being honest, I didn't even know that had happened until you just said.
But it's not gonna affect the fan base at all. No. They're not gonna be like, oh man, we didn't win it.
Yeah.
No, they're still gonna be like, yeah, we won a World Series, and it was awesome.
Well,
I'm still gonna go watch this team because they're fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, as a Steelers fan, we went through your quarterback won a World Series, but he had some questionable decision making in a bar bathroom. And I was like,
yeah.
That sucks, but, he's still on the field, so you root for him every week. Well, it's a horrible trade-off that we make as fans, the behavior we accept.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Now people are talking about, I hope Ben comes back next year so we have a chance at winning. And you're like, man, imagine if he had done what he did this season.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's just such a different era in how we handle that.
Absolutely.
But this is how fans think. I think when you really break it down, every fan just cares about how much fun they're having when it happened.
Right.
I don't think Astros fans, and honest to God, we have even been reading online, some Astro fans still don't believe this happened.
Yeah. Oh,
it's fucking insanity.
Deniers.
It's crazy that you can think that there was not
they're like bullshit. There's no proof.
Systematic
there
cheating.
There's proof and firsthand accounts from people on the team.
The players just went in and said, "Yeah, we did it."
But the other troubling thing I read was that AJ Hinch, the manager, was like he tried to like soften his blow and be like, I was the good guy in all this. He was like, he said that twice he tried to break the monitor because he didn't approve of it.
The fuck out of here.
And he was like, but they did it anyway, and like I wasn't a part of it, and I wasn't like, you are the head coach,
right? And
the buck stops with you, man. So like you can't use that excuse like I mean they did it but I didn't like it and so I shouldn't be punished. Like no, if you saw it and even if you agree or disagree and you didn't stop it, you're more responsible than anybody because you are the last word on that team. Like you are the head, you're the boss of that team. If it was some lowly bullpen catcher coach that was like, I saw it, but I make $28,000 a year and I can see some merit to that. But you're the fucking head coach.
Yeah.
You can't try to play this sympathy card like I didn't agree with.
No.
Motherfucker, you knew what was going on and you were like, yeah, we're winning, so don't necessarily love it, but
right.
I'm gonna look this way.
Who is the linchpin between the systematic cheating from a general manager and organization to carrying it out on the field? That's the coach.
Yeah.
And also, it's just like, I tried to break the monitor. If you can't break a monitor in a dugout full of baseball bats, you shouldn't be coaching a team anyways. Like, you're not up to the task. Like, every time they cut away to Joe Buck, he can't answer questions with the headphones because he's just cramming cotton wads in his ear. Sorry, I don't want to hear trash can banging anymore.
Yeah.
It's fucking absurd, right?
It really is.
The Red Sox are still out there as potential cheaters.
Yep.
Well,
that's the other thing.
This is the problem I have, right? Is this gets to the very core of sports competition in general, right?
Right.
I think all of it's very overblown, this integrity of the game argument, and especially in baseball, it's like we can't have better robotic umpires because this, and the traditionalism is nonsense.
Sure.
This is a direct assault at the traditionalism of baseball, which is this is the fair game, right?
Right.
Once you lose that, and the MLB, through this action, has lost it.
Yeah.
Right? Plashke came out and even wrote well, L.A. now gets to claim they won that World Series. And you're like, no. Yeah. You guys still lost. Like, let's not be coy. You can't go back and just re-say you what. Like the Houston Astros. Like, well, we technically won 4 championships. No, you didn't. You lost. Maybe through unfair means, but you lost.
Right.
Right? And then you think of guys like Kershaw. What if he's unfairly knocked for his playoff foibles? What if 10 of those games where he got blew up the most, he was cheating? There is this long trickle down.
Why are they hitting my slider today? Yeah. What the fuck?
I have one of the greatest pitches of all time, and I just see it flying into the cheap seats.
Nobody's hit my slider in weeks.
Yeah.
They've hit 4 home runs today.
The counter being is like, hey, Kershaw, I also saw that in the first round, the second round. But
yeah,
but it's an example, right?
Yeah.
And this is the problem. So now we have to look at everything that's happened over the last couple of years, and every result is just invalidated. And if you can't, as a league, right, and we haven't even gotten to the gambling aspect, if you cannot maintain the integrity of what happens on that fucking field,
right,
like even in the NFL where we always argue missed calls, this and that, no one actually, I believe, thinks that there is cheating. Football's a hard to officiate game, and I think people on the edges will say, oh, the fix is in.
Right.
But there's no real evidence of that in the NFL, this and that. This is different. This is actually fucking cheating. So now, why are people watching? Why are people gambling?
Yeah.
Why are you going to the field to see these guys cheat?
Well, here's my thing. Like as far as looking back, like I don't know that I agree. You strip a title, or you look back and you say like, oh, none of their wins were, because I'm of the belief, like so when the steroid stuff happened. Yeah, they pinpointed certain guys that were big in the sport. But in reality, that shit was going on probably over about 90% of the players.
Sure.
Were doing stuff. So it was actually
Sure.
a much more level playing field than it appeared to be. It's just that, they took down the head guys, or attempted to take down the head guys. They handed out pretty big punishments, years long and stuff like that. And with this stuff, the Astros are not the only team, and the Red Sox are not the only team.
No.
They didn't magically devise this plan that nobody else ever thought of, or a different, you know what I mean? So I think, but the point is they got caught.
Right.
And the Red Sox got caught. And so when that happens, as a league, they've got to bring that hammer down and stop this from doing it, and send a message to everybody else that's doing it and hasn't been caught yet. Like, if you don't fucking quit, you're all fucking done.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they didn't do that. They
gave them the actual green light.
They just validated their efforts with these punishments. They're like, the other teams that are doing it are like, okay, we're gonna hide a little bit more, but we're gonna double down on this.
Which fan base and owner would not say it's worth a GM, a coach, and $5 million
from a business standpoint
to win a World Series?
Yeah.
Which GM would not make that?
From a business standpoint, it's one of the best investments you can make.
The absolute best in all.
The return
sports.
on investment on that is fucking incredible.
It's like in the casino, right? Black or red. That's a 50-50 bet. That's as good as it gets, right? Like, but this is the thing. And I would even push back a little on that. Players taking steroids to make their bodies better equipped to play the game, right?
Right.
Is less bad than this. Because one, it's not systematic, even if the GMs knew whatever. At the end of the day, the pitcher could still throw you 8 different pitches, variations of, most people, they don't throw 8 pitches. It's not China or Japan, I mean. But it's a Barry Bonds argument, right? Canseco took steroids and did not do what Bonds did.
Right.
Right? So I've always believed there was still, you might have been a little stronger. So a hit turns into a home run, whatever. Your body lasts longer in the season. If you ask most baseball players, to be honest, is your strength and body being healthier more of an advantage than, hey, I know exactly what pitch is coming, whether it's a fastball or an off-speed pitch, what is the bigger advantage?
Right.
And I don't think it's close.
Right.
And this is what bothers me is if every game I watch is just like, what's the value of this?
Right.
And baseball is such a fucking slog anyways.
Yeah.
Like, even as a fan at 35 with 2 kids, you're like, it's hard for me to watch games now because I can't get my kids to sit still for fucking 4 hours.
Sure.
It's impossible. So even if I'm watching, it's in the background. Now you're telling me that it's all culminating to this great fucking playoff thing that I've always loved in baseball and the World Series.
Right.
And that all that shit is for naught.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a baseball fan, now I have to question how I'm spending my time and money.
I agree. And I thought about it a lot last night too. It was like I think a lot of, as far as the punishment goes, boils down to the absolute dog shit effort of the MLB's marketing team. Because I was thinking about it like this. So, say this happened to the Toronto Raptors, who won the championship last year, and it came out that they were cheating.
They were actually the ones popping Achilles.
Right.
They had an Achilles sniper.
But the NBA could go and take that championship, and they could kill that team, with suspensions and whatever, and take Kawhi out of the league for a year or 2 years or whatever, and make him culpable for his action. They didn't do this hypothetical.
Right.
And the NBA would be fine. Because they have marketed their products so much that they would still have all of these other players, and the MLB doesn't have that.
Yeah.
They not only do they not have a bunch of they don't have any players that they market.
No.
And so if they come down and hand out a death sentence to these guys, like, it's just another stain on their record that they've never done anything to try to mend.
They have history and tradition.
Yeah.
Those are the pillars baseball
and they still
stands
try
on.
to sell it on that.
And now that's
they
shattered.
don't look at Mike Trout and go, we should put him in the face of Americans every fucking 3 hours.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the NBA, like you see LeBron on TV every 5 minutes.
Oh, all
you
the
know
time.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's smart by the NBA.
Right.
And that's why they have a product that's marketable and sellable.
Even on social
media. And the
media.
MLB is bleeding fans at an alarming rate. And so now they're not going to make a big move to alienate even more fans that they're having a hard time keeping anyway.
I would argue.
That's why they pussed out.
I would argue they have, though. That by pussing out, they have so shattered the core of this game to me as a fan.
Right.
Will I still be able to watch balls being thrown, balls being hit, running, throwing, whatever?
Sure.
Yes. But now they have said, they have greenlit cheating.
Yeah.
There is no incentive for a team to not do this at all.
Right.
At a time when they just released this study I saw like a week ago. Why are MLB managers making less and less and less and shorter deals where every other coaching vacancy in pro sports is like this big fucking deal now?
Right.
MLB managers are getting boxed out because they don't matter. I think people most like me, I was saying, I think that's the easiest coaching job in sports because every decision you make is essentially an analytically decided decision that's already been made.
Heavily driven.
Like I was telling you, if they have a righty in, you know which guy you're hitting. Your whole lineup is mostly set from that, right? If they bring in a righty, you know who you're pitch.
You
pitch
want
hitting.
robot coaches.
I think, yeah. I want me at a keyboard.
You want to be Warner Brothers.
Well, especially now that I know I can just cheat. Like, now I'm really in, right? Like, I feel like I have a shot at this point. But it's baffling to me. So now you're telling me managers matter less and less, and essentially their value is now dictated with their cheating schemes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, at this point, call out Kevin Spacey. This guy's obviously got a pretty foolproof system for beating the law. That's
we can't have
crazy.
We can't have robot coaches because then that kills like every baseball movie from here on out. Nobody wants to watch like a baseball movie where it's like high drama point and the coach just goes, Jackson, you're hitting.
No, this is my theory. Yeah, Jackson. He has like a little spring-loaded arm to throw his fake baseball at. No, my theory is just go. The Houston Astros should not be able to have a coach.
Yeah.
They should have to play the whole season. Who's been here the longest?
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay, so the Mets, your coach is now Bartolo Colon.
So what,
and he's making every decision, and that's
well,
it.
one punishment I saw online, I don't remember who posted it, but they said like their punishment should be that they have to start Bartolo Colon in center field every game next year. and he's got to bat fourth.
Yeah.
Like,
if you want my honest opinion,
I'd be like, I'm on board with
the
that.
only punishment that would be fitting for what they did, actually like with technology, cheating to win World Series and making it to another. I think the decision you make for one season, the Houston Astros cannot play any games, and they cannot draft any players. They cannot make any contract moves, and they absolutely cannot make a dollar. Any dollar that's coming in from merchandising or back end on any contract goes to some charity.
Sure.
I think that's the only part. If you're the biggest sin in sports is you cheated to win our highest trophy.
Yeah.
And they're fucking pussyfooting around. And this is how I know I'm right, because I saw Stephen A. Smith come out and say, this is outlandish. It's crazy how hard this punishment is. That's the dumbest take in a world of dumb takes that Stephen A.
Smith knows about as much about baseball as I do about quantum physics.
Right.
I mean...
I mean, maybe less. Maybe less. You've seen some episodes of TV and science fiction.
So to hear him comment on baseball, I don't care if he agreed with me or if he didn't. Like, I dismiss it.
Imagine any
that guy's
sport,
watched 3 baseball games in his life.
Imagine when it came out that Tom Brady and Belichick had actually cheated.
They did.
To win every one of... But, you know, we already assumed that.
They did.
Imagine if there was a smoking gun or smoking trash can in Houston's case, where we know for a fact, we have undeniable evidence that in every one of your Super Bowls they cheated.
We do.
I think the NFL would fucking go nuclear.
Well, they won't because Bob Kraft owns the NFL. He owns Roger Goodell.
I think
Roger Goodell is
have
this
a
little
chance
bitch monkey.
They could.
No, I mean,
but that's what I mean. So you're telling me that if we live in a world today where it's one of the major sports. Baseball is probably the least popular of this. I mean, it's like there with hockey.
Well, if anybody,
but hockey people are more hardcore. So tell me this:
if anybody
you're saying it's okay that they can just keep running a league now, where every fucking year, it's likely, if not almost guaranteed from this point on, that one of the teams, if not both, are trying to cheat to win.
Absolutely,
that's okay.
Why wouldn't they? I'm not saying it's okay.
But MLB's telling you it's okay.
Yeah, they definitely are.
And if you're telling me that you are not interested in protecting that fucking trophy in that event, as you laid out very eloquently, in a sport where managers don't matter, the fans don't seem to matter much because we're not protecting them from getting their children's faces shattered with baseballs.
Oh,
right? We're not doing anything.
Fuck off with your nets bullshit.
I want nets and
robot
umpires.
If you're at the game, watch the game. And then you won't Then you won't get hit in the face. Well, then don't fucking sit them down by the field.
Well, I agree with that as well. I agree with that
That's
as well.
That's on the parents.
I agree with that as well. But there are also people, like if I take my...
Just because you want to come to a game and stare at your phone for 9 innings, then I think you deserve to get hit in the face with a ball.
If I take my mother to a game and she's watching diligently, she can't catch a ball that's flying at her at over 100 miles an hour.
Protect her.
And it also goes against my other core belief.
Then don't sit her third row on the fucking third baseline.
It breaks my other core belief that grown-ups should not be allowed to bring gloves into the game. So I'm really caught between many different theories. But what I'm saying is, so they don't care about the fans, their managers, their World Series.
Yeah.
They definitely don't. Like, we're on TikTok all the time now for Kent Murphy making TikTok videos.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a professional baseball player's TikTok account?
No.
Or teams?
Not a one.
What the fuck? So
no.
What is the point of baseball existing as a pro sport now?
I did see a Yasiel Puig one once, and that's it.
Of all the guys that should have a TikTok.
If you're hanging your hat on that as a league, you're not doing well.
But that's what is their incentive now
LeBron
for fans
James
to be with
the
MLB?
If LeBron James can be on there, you know what I mean?
LeBron James is a content machine.
No, I know, but like if he's on there, then nobody else is above it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like none of these other players should be like, I shouldn't do like no.
No, it should be mandated in your contract that you have to do fan engaging content.
Here's the
and
other.
They should have teams that help the players make content.
Yeah. I read
especially baseball with all that downtime.
Yeah, I agree.
What the fuck is the point of MLB at this point?
Yeah.
That's my big question to you. Yeah. If every World Series is going to be, well, we don't know who really won because everyone's cheating. Players can get away with cheating. The GMs can just pay $5 million to get closer to a World Series.
Some ashtray
There's
money.
no fucking salary caps to
little
make
bit of walking around
to
money.
make parity throughout the league. What is the fucking point of the sport?
I agree.
I don't understand, and it makes me sad because I've been one of the last guys still trying to.
I love baseball.
I
watch 100 games a year.
Yeah, I love baseball. I love the sport of it. I like going to a game. I like the back and forth of it. I can't make a good defense anymore why people should give their money to the MLB. It's fucking nonsense. If you're not going to come down with the wrath of God, it's like when the NCAA is like, oh, Miami's just having hooker and abortion parties 3 miles off the coast, so nothing bad happens to them. If they're not, and that's not even a championship, that's just a program.
Well, yeah.
If you're not protecting the championship, I mean, go to any store right now, and that's all the motivational posters. Be a champion. Yeah. Work like a champion. Train like a champion. Now it's like, okay, how I train like a champion is I get really good at AV.
Well, yeah, they're gonna. I mean, they're facing. They've got to have a massive overhaul.
Everything
in their marketing because
everything has to change
because they're already known as the boring sport.
Yes,
they just are.
Way boring. Way. I
don't agree with that because I love baseball, but to the average user, the average person outside looking in, it's boring.
Yeah.
They don't do anything to pump that up. Nope. They don't do anything to market their players.
Nope.
And now they have this fucking stain on themselves that they just, I mean, they absolutely could not afford.
They have gutted the integrity of their game.
And so, they have to look themselves in the mirror now, and they have to say, we've got to throw away this tradition and this.
Yeah.
They have to. They've got to we have to stop marketing to 80-year-old white men.
Yeah, it's done.
And we've got to move forward with this sport, or we're not going to be here in 20 years.
Well, even soccer, right, which is considered to a lot of Americans to be the boring sport, they market the fuck out of soccer leagues and soccer players.
I know
it globally is so much more popular than every other sport.
0 soccer matches or football matches since whenever the World Cup was.
Yeah.
And I know the name of 10 international players.
Yeah. Well, even MLS guys, they bring over these old European guys, Zahim or Zerhim, whatever. The
I
tall
can't name you
guy,
two guys on the Royals,
Wayne
and
Rooney.
I watch baseball all the time.
They bring these guys over, and you see them on ESPN all the time. You're like, what?
Yep.
To me, this is the product. Like, all that aside, I've always thought, leave the traditionalists behind, make the game faster, better, fairer, right? That's how you make baseball okay. Stop with all this fucking other nonsense, right? The defensive shifts. Stop with the fucking 8 bullpen pitchers in the 7th inning. All these things, take those away and bring it back to the schoolyard game, right?
Yeah.
I got a ball. I can throw it past you. Fuck you, you can't. And your 8 buddies aren't going to stop me either. Yeah. That's baseball. That's when baseball is unbelievable.
Yeah, I love it. I watch 100 games a year. I love it.
Yeah, I get goosebumps thinking about it. But now,
from the outside looking in,
ripped out the integrity of your game.
It's a hard sell from the outside looking in.
Why will I give a shit about the World Series next year?
Yep.
And every commercial will be like, look at how little we're cheating. How the fuck do I know that?
Yeah, but
I think they missed a huge opportunity right here.
Yep.
And this is the other thing. I think a lot of people are going to take umbrage with what I'm saying. Griffey's, going way too hard, blah, blah, blah. Here's the real important thing. What is the number one core group of people who must be happy for your sport to flourish in today's world? Gamblers.
Gamblers, yeah.
Gamblers.
And young people.
And the young people watch sports as a means to gamble.
Yeah.
Right? That is just you see the sports that embrace gambling, they're doing great.
I saw the other day, Indiana, since they, did the FanDuel and all, they legalized the gambling, on sports bets, Indiana has done almost $500 million on that already. It's only been, 3 months or something like that?
And that's an important fucking powerful block in how we do our sports moving forward and how people watch games that don't matter.
Oh, dude, I've been at the bar and I've seen
now,
people that I guarantee by the eye test have never, I'm not sure they can lift a basketball. Like, honestly. But they're looking at the TV like, I got $5 on this game because I downloaded FanDuel or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's good for everyone. Yeah. And so now, why on earth would you ever gamble on a baseball game again? Yeah. Without some kind of insider information on cheating.
Yeah, who's got the better cameras?
And I don't know a ton about gambling, but I'm assuming feeling like you got cheated out of your money is not cool.
Google searches in season are going to spike for which team has the better camera system?
Can we see?
I need receipts.
Can we see the Royals Best Buy receipts? That's what I need to know.
Ooh, Canon. No. They got I like that one. Oh, God.
Oh, really? 720? No, that's not going to cut it. We're a 1080 franchise. No, to me, I'm just baffled and shocked. And the fact that there's anyone trying to say this is just even worse over the line or that somehow baseball can recover from this lack of integrity,
right?
I'm shocked.
Well,
I'm shocked. And to your point, to assume that those were the only 2 teams and that there weren't others and that they now don't see the path to keep going.
Right.
I think it's fucking asinine.
Right. And not only that, you've got the fan aspect, you've got that aspect, and they're all, look at Chris Bryant and all these guys. They're trying to fuck out of contracts because of their service time rule. They're just doing it wrong.
Right.
They've got the fans pissed off at them and their own players pissed off at them. They have no control. It's the fucking Wild West, obviously, because they're holding no one accountable. If they would have done this 15 or 20 years ago and really looked at themselves like the last time they had a big thing and been like, okay, we've got to fucking change the way we present ourselves going forward, then this wouldn't really hurt that much right now. Like I said, if this happened to the NBA right now, they'd be like, it sucks, but we're going to be fine in a week. You know what I mean? Because we still have LeBron James and we still have fucking all these guys and we're gonna be fine. You know, and every time you open a computer, you see a fucking highlight of somebody fucking just racking on some motherfucker, dunking in their face, and you're like, oh shit, I want to watch that. Not a chirp from baseball.
No.
Not a fucking chirp anywhere. Or they show some purist play. They're like, oh, look at this. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Show me somebody fucking jacking a home run, throwing their bat in the air and yelling at the pitcher.
Yeah.
That will fucking bring that. Yeah. But that'll bring in.
We finally released Brian McCann. Release the fans.
But they see that play and they're like, ugh.
Yeah.
That's against the unwritten rules of baseball. Shut the fuck up about
Stupid.
that. Yeah.
Well, also the MLB, like the NBA, should have just made their product cheating at this point. Every time I see a clip, it's like, look at what James Harden did. I'm like, after he cheated 3 times.
Well, that's the thing.
That's fine.
But that's the point. Is that every team in every sport is trying to get an edge.
Yeah.
Somehow, not just sports. That's in business and people are always looking for the quickest way to get from A to B. And the point being though, when you take it to that extreme and you get caught, the league owes it to their fans and to the people bringing the money into that sport to do something about it.
You have to
do something meaningful about it. Yeah,
it's like they said. This has to be an unparalleled punishment because it's the core of the integrity of the game. And the way I look at it, because I know this, people might have, take umbrage here and there. If you're cheating with yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Your body, you're trying to see the signs with your own eyes, right? There's some fallibility there. You're on the field. You have earned a spot on second base. This kind of stuff, right? If you're cheating with what you possess as a human, that to me is more of getting an edge, right? It's still not probably ideal. When you are bringing in actual technology so that some fucking guy who's not a part of the team, has not worked hard to be in that dugout, right, is the one affecting the play on the field, that's when it's wrong.
Right.
That's what pisses me off.
Yep.
And they did jack shit.
Nothing.
If you're not cheating now, you're a fucking scrub.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
You're just a douche.
You have there's nothing at stake.
Yeah.
If you cheat.
If you're the guy who goes to the bar and you have Mel Gibson's power from that movie, What Women Want,
I wish.
and you don't give women what they want, you don't deserve to get laid. You don't deserve the power.
That's a perfect movie.
Yeah. That's right.
It already started at 90% because it's got Mel Gibson.
Right. Well, it's the two things, right? It's one, we have Mel Gibson who knows what women want, but we also have to believe that what they want is an abusive religious nut like Mel Gibson. So it's already starting off with high conflict.
But you know how much... But that's how much Mel Gibson, how much power he has, because that story, the Shia LaBeouf movie, where Shia LaBeouf plays his dad. It's his new movie that he brought out.
Honey Boy.
And he was talking to his dad about the movie, and his dad wasn't super thrilled about being the subject of a movie. And Shia LaBeouf was like, "It's okay, I got Mel Gibson to play you." And his dad was like, "Fuck yes."
Oh yeah. If I'm gonna be a villain.
Yeah, but he went from don't want to do it to yeah, if it's Mel Gibson, let it ride.
And then Shia LaBeouf's like, actually, I'm just gonna put on a thin hair wig, like the butler from Rocky Horror, and be really rude about you. No.
Yeah.
MLB.
MLB.
Call us. We'll save you.
Yeah.
I think Kent Murphy could fix it.
Stop blackballing this, and we'll help you out. I'm sure fucking Coach Ballgame's killing it for you guys right now.
Hey, he's up to 400 subscribers.
Thanks for stealing that idea from me and ruining it. Love it.
Yeah. Great job, guys.
Killing it. So, speaking of scandals, the Oscars.
The Oscars. Oh, I thought we were going Antonio Brown.
Oh, we can go Antonio Brown.
I like both scandals a lot.
We can go. Well, Antonio Brown's just kind of sad at this point. So
it's getting to the point where someone needs to put him in a room, a padded room.
He had that video on Instagram the other day, and the police were at his house because they were removing his mother of one of his children, and he's on the video screaming profanities at the cops, at his mother or his kid's mother, with the kid standing there.
Yeah,
and just full tirading. And it's at that point it's the train wreck's not that much fun to watch anymore.
No.
Somebody needs to help this guy because he's gonna hurt himself or others that he already has.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he hasn't already. No, it's Antonio Brown is becoming the point. Imagine watching The Truman Show as a movie.
Yeah.
If Truman was stoked when he found out his life was all a lie in a TV show. Yeah. Not interesting.
Yeah.
That's what this has become. It's just sad.
Yeah.
It's fucking sad.
It's it'd be like watching a baseball game and some guy gets hit in the nuts with a ball. The first couple times it's funny, and then seventh time it happens to him in the game, you're like, God damn, dude, get out of the way of the ball.
You just do the Molly Ringwald and Breakfast Club and go, stop,
cut it out.
Yeah,
stop.
You're nuts.
Just get out of the way of the ball. Get out of the. You gotta do it.
No, what do we have left? Oscars and WNBA.
Sure.
What do you want? Take your shot,
WNBA.
Bro. I'm down to talk about it. I think it's interesting.
So, yeah. Well, here's the thing. So I read the article today that they're getting a new collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah.
Which is going to bump the highest available salary to, I think it said over $500,000, which is a little over 3 times what the max is now.
Right.
And then they're also talking, I don't think it's official, but they're talking about a 50-50 revenue split between the teams and the players. And what this is going to do for the NBA is going to bankrupt them.
The WNBA, yeah.
And they're not going to be a league anymore.
Yeah.
Very soon. If this is the way, because it's not that the argument is not that they don't deserve this money or whatever. It's the simple fact that they don't bring much money in. There's not that much money to go around. Well, that's why they're making. That's 50, the question. Yeah.
I need 3 questions answered essentially, right?
Right.
How much does the average team make a season?
Right.
I'm ignorant to that.
Yeah, I am too. I don't know the numbers.
Let's say they make $10 million a year, $100 million a year. That changes your math, right? Fine.
Sure.
How many of them own the stadiums and surrounding parking structures, right, of those stadiums? That's a big revenue producer. And thirdly, what kind of money are all the teams splitting equitably? Right. How much is the league bringing in on TV deals? From what I'm assuming, from just the little bit I have, I think it is exactly a conversation about do you deserve this.
Right.
Right? And if you can mathematically prove the owners are making $100 million a year on owning us, right?
Right.
Profit.
Right.
Not cost to like run the. This is the other thing that I need to know, because if that
Profit is the
50-50
number.
takes away their ability to run the stadium, then it's a bad deal.
Right.
So if they're making $100 million in profit, you're like, yeah, paying 12 to 15 women $500,000 a year is nothing. That's a steal.
Right.
Right? If it's not, right? If they're making $10 million a year, like the Lynx, right?
Right.
They make $10 million a year. Now they're going to spend $5 million of that in players before travel, staff, all this other stuff. I don't know. I mean, this is the thing. I am pro things like, what is it, Title IX, right?
Right.
If you run a school organization, which is paid for by the government in taxes, you have to have as many girl programs as boys, because I think at a young age, it's wildly important for kids to play sports, for social learning, and, you know, all of these great benefits of sports.
Right.
Once you're an adult, I think 0% of that matters.
Right.
Right? If you are worth a ton of money, you should get paid a ton of money.
Right.
Right? I don't think they should artificially deflate how much a WNBA player can make.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But how much money are they bringing in?
Exactly.
Do they bring in as much money as like LSU's football team did last night, and those kids aren't making a dime?
Not a chance.
That would be my.
I just looked it up. Their average attendance is 7,000 a game.
7,000 people.
The NBA's is 17,000.
Right.
So right there, you have a discrepancy of over double.
I mean, granted, but average NBA players can make like 20 million.
But that's
now.
the straw man argument they make, is that the men make this, but the NBA, the men's side of that league, generates over $1 billion in revenue.
Yeah.
Every year.
Unless this whole China thing goes
right. But that's why they make $30 million.
Yeah.
Instead of 50,000.
Right.
If you can't just be like, we deserve more and demand, like, where are they going to get the money from? Like, without bankrupting themselves or the league. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
If you start bringing in more money and do, then yeah, fucking get your cut. I totally
Right.
agree with that. But all you're going to do by tripling, because I guarantee the league hasn't tripled their revenue.
No.
But by tripling the pay,
right.
is.
But that's why I need to know that
That's how
number.
you-
How profitable is it to own
Yeah,
the
and
the
I'm ignorant to
Sparks?
those numbers. But
Right.
yeah, I'm
I'll look those
speaking
up
really
after the
only to
show.
the argument that they should make as much as so-and-so on the
Right.
Lakers. It's not true.
Well, my theory
just not true.
is the same theory I have with the NCAA, right? Which is everyone's, oh, it's fair they get tuition this. I'm like, I can tell you it's inherently not fair because the NCAA agreed to it.
Correct.
Right? That's just, if they agree to a deal, you know it's not fair for the players.
Right.
That's a fact. That's
Right.
all ownership. So the only thing I can surmise from this is that it's still not fair to the ladies, or else why would
Right.
the owners do it?
Right.
Because these players don't have another option really to go play somewhere else that's lucrative and in America.
Yeah.
They can go play foreign, but, you know, okay, is that what they want to do to their families and this and that?
Right.
So if the owners are making this deal, it feels like it's probably still in their favor.
Right.
That's the thing. But
Well,
I think,
and that's where some other problem lies too. Is like I'd love to see the figures of how much the owners are making.
yeah,
Because if they're just skimming a whole fucking bunch off the top, and taking home a whole bunch of money without paying them, then yeah, then they definitely have an argument. Because like,
yeah,
why should that guy make a whole bunch of money for ineffectively running a fucking business?
right.
You know what I mean? Essentially, like, he's not putting butts in the seats.
Right.
They're not marketing correctly. If
But
they're,
if he's still making a bunch of profit, perhaps that's all the effectiveness he needs.
Agreed. Yeah.
And this is
agreed.
it's the hard part with all business, right? Where sometimes you invest in something knowing it's not going to be a big, earner because it helps you in other ways.
They're getting money from the NBA right now. They're not even. I don't even think they're
Yeah.
profitable.
Well, I mean,
Because
it's
the
the argument in all
NBA
of sports,
is keeping
right?
them afloat.
Yeah, only one league tells us exactly what they think players are really worth, and it's
Right.
the godless MLB now,
Right.
right? Because they can go out and just make whatever they want. But you could argue in every other sport, all those players are worth way more than they're getting paid.
Well, yeah. Well, the one guy that I was like engaging with on the subject was
Yeah.
like, they should make as much as the men, and he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You can't even name 3 WNBA players. And I
Right.
was like, well, you just proved my point, because
Yeah.
like the vast majority of the population can't name 3 WNBA players.
Right.
Which is why they're not generating nearly the revenue
Yeah.
that the NBA is.
Yeah.
Because I can name 50 NBA players
Right.
right now. You know what I mean?
Well, I always do it too. This is my MLB argument too. Is I always judge fame by if my mom knows you, My mom can't name a WNBA player or an MLB player.
I can't judge anything by it
right?
because my mom doesn't. No.
My mom is like plugged in enough that if you're real famous, like my mom knows who Lizzo is.
Yeah.
You know, she's probably never heard a Lizzo song. My mom might even know who Billie Eilish is without having heard her song.
Not a chance my mom
right?
does.
But like my mom's hip enough that I think it's a good litmus test. She knows some pro wrestlers, some football guys, as she calls them.
Yeah.
But like,
football
there's
guys.
no fucking chance she knows the WNBA players. It's impossible.
My mom once called me, and she called me up, and she said, "Who do the Pacers play tonight?" And I said, "The Orlando Magic." This was years ago. And she goes, shit. And I was like, what? And she's like, I had a meeting downtown. It was at the hotel that the Magic were staying in. But she gets in an elevator, and these 3 7-foot men get in the elevator with her, and they have sweatshirts that say Magic on them. And my mom looks at him and says, "Oh, is there like a magic show in town?" but not joking. And all 3 of them, of course, were like, "Yeah, we're magicians."
Yeah.
And they got off. They get off the elevator and left. And she goes, "Is one of them named Tracy?" Because they kept saying Tracy.
T-Mac.
And I was like, "It's fucking." I was like, "You were in an elevator with Tracy McGrady, and you fucking called. You thought he was a magician? Like that was." But that
thought
was
he was a mind freak?
That was at the height of Tracy McGrady when he was one of the best
was
players
the
in the
man,
NBA.
yeah.
You know, like he was all over the place. Like you have to know who that is. Like,
Right, yeah.
But who sees like 7-foot men and goes, "What are you guys, magicians?"
I would say that's pretty cool of your mom to not see a 7-foot tall black guy and assume he plays basketball. I think your mom's pretty woke for that.
Yeah.
No, to me, it's everything, right? Like, this is what bothers me. I don't know. How do you judge the value of athlete? Because, again, I know there's the argument, too, about you have to pay women and men the exact same for the same job. I agree with that.
I'm absolutely for that.
I agree with that. But the job of an NBA player is to fill bigger stadiums with more people and get more eyeballs.
Yeah.
I don't think they're doing the same
It's
work.
not the same job. Yeah.
They're playing the same game.
Correct.
But not in the same way to the same amount of
on
people.
a much different
right?
scale. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I worked in
If
an
they-
office.
if
Any
they were-
woman could have done my job equally as good as me for the same amount of pay.
Right.
Sure, that all clicks. More people want to watch the NBA, and it has more fans and bigger dollars and more investments.
Look.
And here's how you can tell. Look at endorsements.
Yeah.
Right? There's a reason that these guys are worth so much, and it's rarely their contracts. LeBron's endorsement dollars dwarf his contracts. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, because it's what I was saying, like the new law with NCAA. I think it's absurd that these guys can't get endorsements.
Right.
Because I don't think it's going to ruin sports because only like 5 guys could.
I put it
Last year in college basketball, Zion Williamson could have.
Yeah.
That's it.
But
Let him make his money.
I think of it like this: like you and I are probably the best podcasters in the world.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
In the running.
but you know, we're not making as much money as the top guys podcasting
right.
because we're not bringing that money
Yeah.
in.
We're technically
But like,
doing...
I feel like we should be making as much money.
I mean, I agree.
We are world class at this.
When Rogan sent us a white flag in the mail, I knew we had done it. No,
But I can't just
I'm just saying,
I can't just demand like Joe Rogan money,
Right.
Just because I feel like I'm doing
Just
the same
because I
job as
feel
him.
like we're doing the same job as the girls from My Favorite Murderer, they're also rock stars and like deserve their fucking places filled and make more money. You know, they might be beating us in the numbers, but not in the hearts of the fans. But yeah, it's
You've
just
got to bring the money in to get the money.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know, because this is, to me, that's the problem. Is I think what we're facing is it's this existential crisis of certain things.
Sure.
Which is, you know, the WNBA is probably at that point where when does this break?
Yeah.
And become a big. It's like I said, I love the Indiana Hoosiers in college basketball because it's just been a part of my life for a long time.
Right.
But if someone said this can only exist on its merits,
Yeah.
right? Like this can only exist if it's something that you're willing to pay for while it's in competition with something else like the NBA.
Right.
IU basketball would have to go.
Well, and
the
then-
NCAA had a game this week where Michigan State, who's a top 10 program,
Right.
didn't score 50 points and lost to a bad Purdue team.
Yeah.
NCAA is a pretty garbage product.
I
watched
disagree, but
well, no, for people who
it's
like it.
inferior to.
But it exists because it's under the protection of a school and a criminal organization that pools them together to make money.
That's
right?
a fact. Yeah.
That's how it exists. If IU had to exist in the way that the Indiana Pacers do, it would go under because the product sucks.
Right.
Right? NCAA football, if it wasn't just a feeder program
Right.
for the professional football, right?
Right.
If you had to go pay the same money to watch LSU play on an equivalent version of the game as the NFL, you wouldn't do it because college football is a dramatically inferior talent pool.
Right.
It just is. They're not. They're playing a slower, worse version of football.
And the WNBA article that I read, there was a lady that had a comment in it that knows way more than I do about it, that knows her numbers and all that. But the point that she made was like, they're demanding like this raise under the guys that they're trying to set up, more equality for future generations and whatever. She's like, but if you go and bankrupt the league and shut it down, then you're not helping anybody out. Like, you have to be smart about it. And you have to realize that, like, in order to get more money, you have to generate more revenue. So like,
I think that's
where their
part.
focus should be, and that's on the league.
Yeah.
For their marketing, I mean, they've got to find new ways to market. It's like the MLB, like they've got to find ways to fucking market better.
But
and get more eyes on
the product as marketable?
I don't know.
This is what
maybe
bums
it
me
is.
out.
Maybe
they put me in this situation, right? They're like, you're a woke liberal guy, right?
Right.
And the way I'm like, I don't care about all the other stuff, right? I always look at it, just live your life to not bring misery and undue pain to others.
Right.
Try to make everything fair, be cool to each other. That's kind of like my political default, right?
Right.
Like if I look at an issue, it's like, what's just the least dickheadish version of this?
Right.
That's where I lean. And so on a level, yes, do I wish that the WNBA could just exist and everyone love it as much as the NBA and they make the same money? Yes. It's a wildly inferior product.
Right.
And when they do commercials with Kobe Bryant and James Harden telling me they watch the WNBA game because they see things they don't see when they're playing in the NBA, it rings false, and I don't like it. It seems stupid, right? I don't begrudge anyone who likes the WNBA. If you're a WNBA fan, fuck yeah, I watch all kinds of things that
I don't know that I'd call it an inferior product. It's a different product. I look at it like this. Like,
okay, that's more fair. That's
I look at it like this with anything. Like, if I'm a sock salesman, no, but like,
right? Okay,
I'm not gonna go to like.
I just like that. That's where your mind.
But
went
I'm
for
not gonna go and try to
territory.
sell those to an Amazon tribe that walks around barefoot.
Makes
they
sense.
don't. You know what I mean? Like,
makes sense.
You've got to find
who
wants to watch and sell it to them.
Right.
And then maybe they're casting this net in the wrong place to try to bring people, because maybe there is a corner or a place where people want to watch. You know what I mean?
Very optimistic.
You
I
have
like
to
that.
find. Yeah. That's what the MLB. But that's the MLB. Like they're casting this net for. It's the same argument. They're casting their net over the old white men. Who aren't generating them any more money.
Who are too slow to evade
when
the
they
net
should be
anyways.
casting the net under these young kids that are playing baseball, and like they're looking at the wrong spot, and that's why they're failing at their marketing. And maybe the WNBA is doing that too. Maybe they're casting their net over the wrong market, or they're wrong.
Yeah,
for
like
what they're trying to bring
the NBA
in.
is talking about with mid-season tournaments.
Right.
Maybe try some wild shit.
Right.
That makes it more exciting.
Right. Well,
maybe they don't need a
Kent
full.
Murphy. I
giant
market
season.
it to baseball fans.
Yeah.
Baseball. You know what I mean? I don't go to NFL stadiums and be like, watch Kent Murphy. I go to Major League, you know what I mean?
Right.
You have to know where your market is.
That becomes
and
the
get
business
those people
problem,
to spend the
though,
money.
right?
Yeah.
The NCAA men's basketball is a wildly inferior product to the NBA.
Right.
It still has a base but it's tied to that collegiate shit though.
Right.
If you go to school there or there's like kind of a pride to being from that state.
Right.
Same with NCAA football. I hear people all the time, it's the best, purest version of football. It's so stupid. It's so wildly untapped. Like even that game last night, they have what?
It was a good game.
15 NFL players on that field.
Yeah.
Most of which won't even make it.
Joe Burrow, well, he's good.
That's what I mean. They've got but it's not comparable. It's a worse version of football than the NFL.
By and large,
it has these things. That's what the WNBA needs. What are its things that make it an institution like that?
Right.
To where then they can generate the money, to where then they can make as much as they want.
Right.
By just and this is what I hate about this debate is every time I talk WNBA, someone wants to do you just hate women, blah. It's like, that's fucking bullshit.
Right.
But to sit there and argue that the WNBA is a great product and they deserve to get paid like the NBA is just nonsensical on a business level.
To put it this way,
they're not little girls in elementary school that need protection. They're grown women.
Right, but to cap it, like my niece she's a freshman in high school. She plays basketball in high school. She plays varsity.
Great.
The last time I talked to her about basketball, I was like, who's your favorite player? She said LeBron James.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem because she is their target demographic.
Right.
And her favorite player is a guy from the NBA.
Yeah.
That's what they've got to do. They've got to market that better because she should come to me and say, my favorite player is so and so.
Yeah.
From the Indiana Fever or whatever, somebody.
Someone local.
Yeah.
She can go to the
Diana
stadium. She can
Taurasi,
buy the
yeah.
merchandise. Yeah,
They've got to be able to
when
do
it's
that.
a thing.
Yep.
That would be
that,
great.
I remember a light bulb going off in my head when she was like, that's kind of fucking...
That's the issue.
Yeah, that sucks. But yeah. Hey, guys, thanks for listening. As always, we appreciate it. If you're on Apple Podcasts, give us a rating and review. CoachKentMurphy.com for all your merchandise needs. At Coach Kent Murphy. I blew it. At Coach Kent Murphy on all the social medias. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Your contract's not going up.